Hey there, sleepy camper. Tuck in close and let the north breathe around us. Alaska wears the night like a deep blue quilt, stitched with spruce shadows and threadbare stars. And every so often, the sky lifts that quilt to show a green silk lining, the aurora's slow dancing hem. If you listen easy, you can hear how three old voices share this place. The voice of the mountains, the voice of the sea, and the voice of the ice. They don't argue. They take turns, like kin who know how to pass the salt. Folks call this land the Great Land, and they've been calling it that a long while. The word Alaska bears that meaning in its bones. The scale here is a quiet kind of big. It's not loud about it. A single valley can hold more lakes than your memory can count, and a single forest can take half a day just to say hello back. The trees of the inland, black spruce and birch, tamarack, where the ground grows spongy with moss, stand patient in a kingdom of cold called the boreal forest. Farther southeast, the air fattens with mist, and the trunks get tall and cathedral straight, Sitka spruce and hemlock, a rain-soaked choir that sings in drips and hushes. They say that stretch of green, the temperate rainforest, carries some of the oldest stories on the coast, and you can hear one if you wait for the fog to make up its mind. Mountains shoulder their way across the horizon, and one stands higher than all North America, tall enough to keep a piece of winter even on a July afternoon. When the sun lifts low and lingers, it paints snowfields the color of peaches, and the glaciers wear that light like a blessing. Glaciers talk in a language all their own. Pops, groans, a porcelain crack, a thunder of ice calving into fjords. You don't translate it. You let it pass through you like a church bell, and trust the meaning will find its proper shelf in your chest. It's a strange comfort how the days bend out of shape here. In summer, the sun strolls the rim of the sky and forgets to set on time, as if it's got one more story to finish before lights out. In winter, dusk and dawn lean against each other and share the same mug of blue. Some nights the aurora slips down and hangs like a curtain of green fire, combed by a wind you can't feel. If you've never watched light dance without a tune, you might think the heavens are putting on their scarves against the cold. Life here has agreed to a set of terms. Moose step out of willow thickets like the scene has been waiting on them all day. Long legs built for boggy ground, ears swiveling for what's polite to know. Caribou move in bands wide as weather, tracing old paths their grandparents wore into the world. Wolves keep counsel with the snow and do their work without speech. Eagles take the sky with a confidence that never asks permission. And bears, brown along the coast where the salmon run rich, black in the forests where berries hide, white farther north where the ice knows your name, mind their own slow-clocked business until it's time to eat, nap, or teach a cub the shape of a river. The manners out here are simple. Give space, take care, and speak softly even when you say nothing. Rivers arrive carrying stories they learned in the mountains, and when they reach the sea, they return those stories in silver salmon, pushing upstream with the stubbornness of memory. 5 coats, 5 nicknames, 5 ways of being true to the river that raised them, but we don't need to sort them tonight. What matters is the promise kept. Born in fresh water, fed by the ocean, they come back to the very smell of their home creek to begin again. Bears pull them from the current and scatter the leavings into the forest, and the trees take up that ocean-fed richness through their toes. That's how a cedar learns the taste of the tide, and a spruce stores sunlight it never saw. In this place, even the mountains eat the sea, and nobody makes a fuss about it. Tidewater braids into everything. Kelp sways in long-boughed gardens. Otters wrap themselves in the fronds like grandmothers in shawls, and puffins carry little silver fish crosswise in their beaks like errands done on the way home. Out beyond, humpbacks lift the heavy door of the ocean with their backs and let it fall again, sending ringed ripples outward like news that can't be kept a secret. Some truths here wear a kitchen apron and some wear a warning label. Folks at supper talk about salmon that flake apart like kind words. They talk about halibut, big as doors, and cod that invite garlic and lemon to stay a while. Berries, too. Blueberries that stain your thumbs. Salmon berries that glow like lanterns in the wet understory. Cloudberries up north as golden as old honey. In the right company, with the right knowledge, these are gifts. But Alaska keeps her balance by pairing delight with caution. Baneberries hang like drops of lacquer, red or white, bright as a stop sign, asking to be admired and not tasted. Water hemlock grows with an innocent face, but it keeps a dark library inside, and a nibble is more than enough to turn a warm afternoon into something fierce and final. Shellfish can hold a storm of toxins. The tongue can't judge, and the eyes can't weigh. Some seasons, the sea says yes, and some seasons, the sea says not tonight. It's the old rule repeated, be a gentle guest. Leave wild meals to those who've studied this pantry all their lives. Fire leaves its signature, too. Where a burn has passed through and time has worn away the sharpness of it, morels sometimes rise like small, wrinkled brains considering their next thought. People treasure them in pans, browned and butter soft. But in the woods, they're simply volunteers for the cleanup crew, turning yesterday into tomorrow without bragging about it. For all our praise, the forest does not cook for us. It cooks for itself, and if we're lucky, we get to watch. You can walk a long road here without crossing a fence. Muskeg, those spongy, moss-topped flats, makes the ground feel like a lightly held breath. Tundra farther north pulls the trees low and keeps the horizon honest. Summer lays a brief rug of flowers there, tiny and stubborn, and the sun stands at the edge of the room watching over every minute. Lichens etch patient maps on rock. Ravens arrive in twos and threes and speak in a dozen voices, laughing, ticking, knocking, saying, "You don't know half of it." Along the coast, the rainforest carries a deep memory of stories told before the first nail was hammered, and inland, river villages hold their own braid of wisdom about ice, wind, and what it means to be neighborly when the next house might be a snow day away. There's a tale people like to tell about Raven bringing the light, a way of saying that cleverness and persistence can unbox a whole world. Whether you hold that story close for belief or for beauty, the lesson lands just fine. Some things arrive only because someone asked the right question again and again. The aurora might agree. It's made from visitors we never see. Small charged messengers thrown off by the sun, caught by the earth's great magnetic hand, and set dancing along invisible lines until they give themselves away as color. Night after night, curtain after curtain, the sky tries on green, then violet at the edges, sometimes red when it's in a mood. Stand under it long enough, and even your quiet thoughts find partners to waltz with. Glaciers move like a very patient animal, slow enough to grow gardens on their backs, strong enough to carve a letter to the ocean out of a mountain's shoulder. They drink snowfall for centuries, then lean forward into the world and leave blue ice exposed like the inside of a jewel. When a piece lets go and falls into the sea, it's called calving, and the water catches it like a midwife. The newborn berg turns in its cradle, blue as a sleeping vein, and begins to learn the shape of the tide. Give it time, and even that ice will pass into the mouths of rivers and the hearts of trees, and later into the bones of a moose. Nothing ends here, it just changes costumes. You don't need a clock in a place that is forever teaching you how to wait. The sun strolls, the frost writes ferny alphabets on window glass. Hoarfrost lifts its crystal feathers from alder twigs. When the wind arrives from out on the sea, it carries a salt that makes the tongue remember laughter you haven't laughed yet. When it comes from the interior, it smells faintly of iron and cold dust, as if the very shape of the land has a scent and is willing to share. The points of the compass here aren't so much directions as moods. On evenings like this one, the world narrows kindly. A beaver slides through a bend of black water with a little V of moonlight in its wake. A fox steps onto the packed snow of a riverbank and leaves punctuation marks that will hold till morning. Somewhere high in the timber, a great horned owl breathes the forest's name back to it, and the forest answers by deepening its quiet. Light lingers longer than you'd expect, then lets go. Dark pulls a blanket to our shoulders and tucks it in with a corner of green silk. If your heart carries worry, Alaska has room for it without hurrying it along. Set your burden down for a time among the drift logs and berry canes. The tide will bring back what you need and carry off what you don't, and the spruce will keep their counsel. And if you're carrying hope, well, this land knows how to store that too, in seed and snowpack, in salmon eggs under gravel, in a bear's slow winter heart. We can leave with a few simple truths that fit tidy in a pocket. The mountains do not move for our calendars, yet they let us pass. The sea does not ask to be thanked for its gifts, yet it keeps giving. The ice is not cruel by nature, only honest about what cold requires. The animals are not symbols for our stories, though we learn from watching them. And the berries, sweet ones and warning ones alike, are reminders that beauty and danger can ride the same stem, and respect is the ribbon that ties them. Now the aurora thins and slides back toward the stars, like a curtain closing on a stage that never really empties. The river keeps its whisper, the trees keep their stillness, and the night holds us without conditions. Take one last look at the mountains, standing like old guardians at the edge of your dreams. Take one last taste of salt and spruce on the air. You've been a generous listener, and this land remembers such things. Rest easy now. These woods will keep watch.